This episode of Moms on a Mission is brought to you by our good friends at Beverly Hills Precious Metals. In light of recent bank instability, diversification is a must. Go to bh-pm.com to protect your wealth today and use promo code MISSION to save a little money. That's bh-pm.com, promo code MISSION. We want to hear from you. Email us your questions or comments at moms@momsonamission.net. That's moms@momsonamission.net. And we can't wait to connect with you. Let's get connected. Just go to momsonamission.net and fill out your information. That's moms@momsonamission.net. Please follow us on your favorite platform.
Today, we are joined by Mompreneur extraordinaire. She is the managing partner of Prime Groups, Inc., owner and managing partner of Duncan Families, LLC, executive director of Scout and Cellar, and the founder and president of a grassroots organization, Women for Tulsa. She also serves on the Oklahoma Lottery Commission Board of Trustees and was recently confirmed as an Oklahoma Employment Securities Commissioner. Welcome to Moms on a Mission, Christy Rawlings. Welcome to the show.
Christy, welcome.
So glad you are here today.
Love being here. This is great.
So tell us who you are and what you do.
Oh gosh, Christy Rawlings. I think this was the hardest question for me.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
a lot
I
of
just
things.
boiled it down, and I was like, I'm a Christian,
Yes.
I'm a wife, and I'm a mother. And those are the 2 or 3 things that are the most important to me in my life. And then I'm a businesswoman. Then I'm an entrepreneur. Then I'm create little programs all over the place. So yeah.
When you get bored with all your other jobs.
When I get bored with all my other jobs, I do feel like understanding yourself. I love with age comes wisdom.
Yes.
And I feel like I have truly learned my skill set, but I'm much happier stirring 8 pots than just one. So I'm more efficient. I'm more happy, and it just works for me.
I love that.
I love that. I can't wait to hear more as we go into this. So we call you what we like on our show to be a mompreneur. So I am so curious. I've known Christy for a few years, and I just am curious as what brought on your entrepreneurial spirit. That's something that you got from your parents. Did you just develop that along the way organically? Tell us your story about that.
Oh gosh, that's interesting. So I think when I really realized I wanted to own my own time was I was a single mom with 2 kids, and I had a 6-month-old and a 4-year-old. And at that point in time, I was like, I've got to be a mom, but I've got to make money. So at that point, I started my own business. It was a personal training business. I worked from 7 till 4, and then I was able to be home and be with my kids, and had a real successful business for about 3 years doing that. I could have gone back into corporate America, which was what my path was before that. But I just couldn't see a path into being a good mom and raising my kids, especially being a single mom. So I think that was the first point where I went on a limb. I think there's a lot of risk in being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
But yet I was willing to take that. I was willing to take a step back financially and realize that being a mom was primarily the most important. So if I could figure out a pathway to make an income and own my own time and be a mom, that was it.
Well, so how did you learn how to balance that, the career and motherhood?
Wow. Well, I mean, as a single mom, it was a struggle. I had beautiful help from my family. My parents were amazing. And then I met the man of my dreams. I got married again, had another child. And at that point, we had a real clear definition of our partnership. I knew that I wanted to be the primary nurturer. I was support services. I was there for the kids. I enabled him to pour full force into his business. But yet I was still always involved in the business. So we just kind of figured out a pathway for me to work in Prime Groups and yet not be overwhelmed with it.
And be there every day, every minute, so you could be a mom.
Yeah. And I love my husband, but we decided early on we were not meant to both be in the office together. So that made for a much happier marriage.
Yes.
And I worked out of the home. Just kind of treated my little business as part of Prime Groups as a subcontract. I just kind of did my thing, stayed in my lane, and it worked great. And I was able to be a mom.
And so did you already know how to do what you're doing with your husband with Prime Groups? Did you already know how to do that prior to meeting him and getting married? Or was it like on the job training?
It was on the job training. And it was specifically, so I managed the risk management, the workers' comp part for over 1,000 employees in a 5-state area. But it started out, it was smaller than that. And it was such a big part of our business. It could be like just this dam that would just bleed out and just money could just pour out of it if it wasn't managed properly. And at that point, we decided he was like, there's no one else I can trust but you. And so I just learned it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Figured it out.
And also, how did you become so entrepreneurial minded? Because I think some people maybe just aren't wired that way, or they don't even really think that this is an option. And they're like, I was a single mom for a bit. I mean, that really didn't cross my mind.
Right.
I was thinking, where can I go work? But I think that's so fascinating. Were your parents entrepreneurs, or?
My dad was,
Okay.
my mom was always with us. She was a housewife, but then she also turned she teaches 200 people a week Bible study now.
Yeah.
So she went and basically has her doctorate at TU.
Oh, wow.
So she's just
You
an
had great
amazing
role
person.
models.
I had a good role model. And she didn't do it for the money. She did it for the passion. But so for me, it was just, I just wanted to own my own time. I don't want anyone to own my time.
Yeah.
And that has always been pretty much the driving force of me. And I think it's an innate personality characteristic of myself. And then I'm really not, I'm an eternal optimist. I always see what could be, not what is. So I think that helps with being an entrepreneur, is you just keep going forward.
And that really probably helps with relationships, marriage, relationship with your kids, just being optimistic and seeing what is.
Yeah. You don't look at failure as failure. That you just look at failures. I learned from that. What are we going to do next? How are we going to pivot? How are we going to turn? And you can see that just from what you described in your life so far. It hasn't been a piece of cake.
No,
I mean,
definitely
no. I mean, you had challenges, and you made a pivot, and you turned, and you made the next best step.
Absolutely.
You just made the next best steps. I know that can be encouraging to a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs, or they say, well, I'm a single mom, I can't do that. And I also think finding those people in your life that I call your cheerleaders. Have you had that? I mean, have you found,
you call them lanterns. It's
I love
lanterns.
that.
Yeah. And I always try to be a lantern. If there's someone that's, looking for a mentorship, I love coaching. I love working with women. I think I always say, as women, we have to reinvent ourselves. I think we reinvent ourselves a lot more than men do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
First I'm a daughter, then I'm on my own, and then I'm a wife, and then I'm a mom, and then I'm a single mom, and then I'm a mother again, and then I'm a wife again.
Yeah.
Each phase is so different. And I feel like that is the key, and looking for those lanterns that are out there. And there's so many amazing women out there. Surrounding yourself with people that are going to uplift you and say, I've done this before. Don't recreate the wheel.
Yes.
Follow my footsteps.
And I think that's one thing I really love about you, Christy, is that from the moment I met you, you were always a cheerleader and a supporter, and not a competitor. I'm sorry, a competitor, and competing with women. You are supporting and locking arms and moving forward with them. And I think that there needs to be more of that, I believe.
I agree. So that's a charge to everybody out there. If you're not mentoring somebody, you need to be, especially if you're over the age of 40. I really think everybody at that stage can start mentoring, and especially we're past that age. I won't say we actually talk about our age, but we won't go into all that today. But something I want to point out, because I heard this on a podcast this weekend, and I never like to promote other shows, but they were talking about the Proverbs 31 woman, and what you just described as yourself. People don't usually say I am, but you're describing that to me. What you've done, taking care of your family, you're an entrepreneur, you're looking for ways to support your husband and your family. But what was so interesting about this discussion was this woman was saying, but it doesn't all have to be in one season, because the Proverbs woman sounds so overwhelming. I mean, she was amazing. She was, working had her own business, and it was yarn, what was she doing? I don't know, spinning. My mom would know. I've got knitting and spinning and doing all these things. I'm like, oh, that's so overwhelming. And her family calls her blessed, but it's in the seasons, and what you just described it perfectly. So I wanted to point that out.
Because I think maybe younger moms, they don't have the time to do that in that season, and you don't beat yourself up. You just do what you can in that season with what you have.
I agree. I think there needs to be a lot more grace out there. I feel my sisters and I joke, I've got 4 sisters, and the 3 of them are moms, and we always joke about how we're going to write a book called The Worst Mom in the World.
You should.
And it's going to be just like short stories, like Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's me I left my kid in a shopping cart in a Walmart parking lot, but I came back and he was fine. And guess what? He graduated from college. He's adulting quite nicely. Like, there's just so much mom guilt out there. I think
there is.
Everyone's trying to be better, do better. And I just feel like there should be more grace at that time. And
I do too.
I coach a lot. So one of my fun little entrepreneurial things is I became an e-commerce wine consultant when my son turned 16, because I was like, I need more community. I need something fun. I want to follow a passion. So I started it, and I've got a team of about 1,000 women. And, I get calls all the day where they're like, I can't do all this work. I can't. And I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You own your own time. You are in control. You can choose whether you want to pour in or if you need to pull back and support your family. And honestly, that is the seasons. And now I'm like, I got all the time in the world. I'm like, wow, I'm not driving kids.
Right. When that last kid goes to college.
I'm not in bleacher jail.
Yeah.
Bleacher jail.
I can do whatever I want. And it's amazing.
It's a lot of time. I mean, my son just got his license last October, and it's bittersweet, but it's unbelievable the amount of time you spend driving, sitting in the pickup line and things of that nature. I'm trying to look at the positive, because I'm like, oh, those are less conversations I'm having with him, which means you need to be more intentional with your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have been driving now for 20, you and I have laughed about this, how many years we've been parenting. I'm still parenting, and I'm going to do great. I've got 4 years with my daughter. I'm going to finish strong. I'm doing this.
Oh yeah.
But I also take your point very well, because I had a great conversation with my sweet daughter-in-laws. And I said, when I hit 50, I was like, I didn't think about hitting that age. Like, what am I going to do? I was just trying to get there. And I'm like, I still have a lot of energy. I have a lot to give to the world. And I told them that, I said, you're thinking right now, kids and career and all this, but you're going to get there, and you're going to, I said, think about what you're going to do in the second half, because I didn't really think about it that much. I just thought, I'm going to be parenting forever. And then you realize you're not. And I still, you have a lot to give. We women have a lot to give after our kids.
Our world needs us right now. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, what's going on? So I think it's great. We don't need to just ride off into the sunset and not be productive. And
exactly.
That's kind of my call to action, actually, for all women out there, because I feel like God wants us to be productive.
Yes.
God wants us to.
There's no retirement.
There's no retirement.
No.
A vacation's not a vacation unless you're vacationing from something.
That's good.
So, I mean, I've said this all my life, is if I do my job right, if I have duplicatable systems, and I'm going to work myself out of a job, my kids, if I do it right, are not going to need me as a mom.
So good.
I don't need to be, the parent all the time. Now I've got 2 adult children who are just amazing. They're so strong. They're so adulting. They're working hard. They've got great work ethic. They just need a friend. They need a coach. They need a cheerleader. That's easy.
Then you've done your parenting correctly.
I've done it. Prime Industrial. I'm working my way out of a job. I'm hiring. We're outsourcing. I've got good systems in place. So it enables me to have more time to focus on my passions and what, where I want to go with everything. So. Yeah.
Well, I love all this. I'm going to turn us, we're having a little happy time. Now we're going to talk a little bit about COVID lockdowns. And so I know we've talked a lot, but we were experiencing COVID together. We worked out at a gym that was getting closed down, and we were frustrated. But, so COVID lockdowns, the election of 2020, we talked about that a lot. And like so many Americans, we were frustrated and fed up. But like so many Americans, like she's not like so many Americans. She decided to do something major and do something to fight back. So first of all, tell us what you felt you went through personally, also with your businesses, and what have you done to fight back and make a difference?
Okay. So, personally, it was, we had our son still in high school, and that was a challenge. We were dealing with some head injuries from some sports. He was at home, there was a lot of challenges there, and just becoming very aware, hyper aware of, the people that are controlling us, the city council, the shutdown, the Tulsa public schools, even, fighting with, my son was lucky enough to go to a Christian high school, but still fighting with that administration over contact tracing and him being held out at his football games. And he had to sit in a truck across the football field and watch his buddies play football because supposedly someone had been 5 feet away from him that had COVID. It was ridiculous. There was no rhyme or reason. So, that personally, business-wise, we went from 900 employees to 300 in 30 days. And you talk about, and God bless my husband. I mean, he white knuckled it. He would put on his work clothes and go upstairs and sit in this little bitty study hall desk that I had for my son. And he would grind it out, figuring out how we're going to survive. We were fortunate enough that we staffed for some essential businesses that were still able to stay open.
Yeah.
But wow, that was going on. And then, just seeing how our government, and specifically our local government, how much control they had over it, how they got crazy, just power drunk on the control. And that was just I mean, people that know me say, don't tell her what to do. She gonna come out fighting. She gonna get mad. And I
Probably
did.
the last thing you tell
I
her.
I got mad, and I have a life lesson that if, excuse the language, if I bitch about something too much, I have to do something to try and change it.
That's fair.
So I take away the lip service and I go into action, and I always follow awareness, acceptance, and action. I think COVID made us aware, and we had to accept it. There was not a lot of choice about sitting at home for a while. But boy, the action afterwards was really, that's what fired me up. And, we started Women for Tulsa, which is a grassroots women's organization.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us to our next question. Tell us about Women for Tulsa, and how did you start it and why?
Well, so, the older you get, you look at all these amazing women. And I saw a lot of my friends that had focused completely on their family and their husbands, and all of a sudden they're working themselves out of a job, and they're like, what do we do? And then they're so passionate and so smart, and the skill sets and the talent of these women are just, today I'm just blown away with, everything that they're doing. So it's like, I'm really good at organizing. And
Yes,
so
you are.
putting people together, and I'm good at dealing. I don't have a lot of powers, but one superpower, I'm pretty good about managing big groups. So that is when Women for Tulsa started. We were 10 people around my dining room table. 3 months later, we were 40 people. 5 months later, we were 80 people. We had to have a place, and it's just been a growing experience ever since. So, yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about what you've done. So Women for Tulsa has been around for about 2 years, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
What have you guys accomplished in that time? And where do you see yourselves going in the future? Because we've got an election year coming up in 2024. So
right. And I'm going to read the mission statement, because I feel
like
that
please
really
do.
truly does.
No, I love that. Please do.
Encapsulate what we are. Women working for Tulsa will strive to make Tulsa a better place to live, work, and raise a family by being actively involved in Tulsa City Council, Tulsa Public Schools, general elections, mayor's office, city policies, and other initiatives that serve to advance Tulsa. Women working for Tulsa will advocate for candidates and policies that serve Tulsa families, promote safety, demand excellence in Tulsa public schools, support a pro-business climate and constitutional liberty. I actually am reading Women Working for Tulsa. It's Women for Tulsa. Sorry, we had to change the name, logistics-wise.
Right.
But we started this 501c4, and it's a social advocacy program. And the goal is, we're strong, conservative Christian women. That's a fact.
Yes.
But I feel like in this environment, we're made to be polarized. And so we have fought very hard to remain autonomous. We're autonomous from the GOP. We're autonomous from other organizations. We have our own candidate vetting sources, solutions. And I feel like at this point in time now, we've got the vehicle ready to just charge forward, get as many members as we can, and really be an agent for change. But we've flipped the city council. And this is doing kind of, I think we all.
Let's clap on that.
I know that is clap-worthy.
That's celebratory right there.
It's
really a big deal.
It is a huge deal.
It's changed the climate in Tulsa and how it's functioning. Working on school board, we flipped one seat.
Yes.
Working on others. But I think when we all started this organization, we thought we were stepping into a well-oiled machine. And what we stepped into is a big old pile of doo-doo.
Yeah.
And so at that point, we're like, okay, so at the same point, we're trying to do all this. We're trying to recreate the wheel. There was a lot of non-systems in place that weren't working. So I feel like, as I look at all these women, we've raised millions of dollars for how many charities?
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Who's running their mini corporate volunteer service. So putting that group together and accessing their skill sets and how to push that vehicle forward and be an agent for change. One of my funniest conversations is I have people all the time, every meeting, they walk up to me and they're like, well, I want to be part of this, but I really don't know what I'm good at. And I really don't know what I do. And I don't know what you need me. And I'm like, well, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I'm a bookkeeper. And I'm like, oh, the Lord has just granted me with a bookkeeper.
Thank you, Jesus.
That is not my skill set at all. Or, oh, I do ethics reports for the Oklahoma. So I know how to do, I'm like, angels are singing. They're dropping above. So, everybody's got a skill.
Oh,
There's
yes.
always way to utilize that.
Yeah. And we're going to need a lot of hands and voices coming up in
Oh.
2024.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Yes.
for
Heavy
local
lifting.
races, and I know you're mostly focused on local races, but we do have, interest in the things that are going on in the state and of course in the country. So,
Oh yeah.
a lot of work to be
prayers.
in. I mean, a lot of hands in there.
Yeah.
So tell us how people can get involved in Women for Tulsa.
Great. So we have a website. You go to www.womenfortulsa.org.
We're going to share that.
And you can go to join and you just fill out the information. We've got meetings every month. We're taking a break for the summer because summer is just a hard time with moms because you're managing all these kids. Sorry.
They can click on this membership button right here.
Yep.
On the bottom.
Click on the membership right there and then go to join now.
Okay,
right there at the top left.
Okay.
And it just plugs you right in. You give us your information. We get the email and we will contact you and then start plugging you into your areas of interest. I do like to stress, I feel like there's a lot of luncheon groups out there or a lot of speaker groups out there. We try to be very action oriented. We try to put our feet where our mouths are. So we do have meetings through the school calendar year. We try to bring in, any candidates that are viable. We do try to listen to both sides. And I will say that there are times when, you have to pick the best of a situation that's going to work for the situation, whether it be endorsing a Democrat that might be a better candidate.
I wanted to mention that because that's one thing I love about Women for Tulsa. And really, this is the way our path should be going forward, is that a lot of times we end up on the Republican side, but sometimes we don't. I think that's the whole goal, is looking at good versus evil, what's going to work and what's not, and putting the label aside. And
right.
listening to each other. What I love about Women for Tulsa is that we are listening. We do want to listen to the other side. We don't want fighting. We want to come together, have good discourse. Maybe we debate, maybe we argue. And we're all about that on this show, about talking about how do we get back to civil discourse where we listen to one another, and that's where the best ideas come from. And we have all the right ideas.
Critical thinking, instead of just having talking points that we all regurgitate and don't really know what we're saying and what it means, is, using critical thinking. Absolutely. And I think critical thinking is when you realize, oh, this person, even though the label might not be exactly correct, they align with us better than the one with the right label. Correct. And using those critical thinking skills.
Yes. Correct. And I want to highlight one of our guests we just had, which was Dana, who's on the Supreme Court. Oh, yeah. She was so excellent. And talk about education, Miriam. Our holding is educate, awake and activate. Educate. And she was such a wealth of information about how the courts work, what she does, the elections. It was outstanding. And that's just one example of the guests that we have at Women for Tulsa. But she was, and just so available after the meeting also to answer questions, and so authentic. And I really appreciate it. Anybody could have got, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever you are, you can learn something from talking. And some amazing women. One of the
things that I was fortunate to go through in another organization, I was on a board that was a Midwest board, but they put me through amazing training. And it was one of the trainings I went through was called The Triangle of Truth. And it was one of the most impactful things I've ever gone through. It's an amazing book if you haven't read it. But it talks about how you go into a situation with your point of view. And Julie, you might come into a situation with your point of view. And if both people are dug in, Miriam, and no one's willing to look and listen and come up with a different truth, then no one's learning. And, it's one of those things where if you are able to put your ego aside and, turn your listening ears on, listen to that other person's point of view without trying to convince them that your view is right, then you're able to come up with a new truth. And in conflict resolution, there's always a new truth. It's not your truth. It's not your truth. It's not my truth. It's a new truth. And that to me has been one of the most impactful things. I try to keep that at the forefront of all the things I do because, everyone's gonna, and in the words of lovely Tulsi Gabbard, who I repeat this over and over again, who we're trying to get as a guest
Yes,
speaker
she
to
would
come
be
in.
so
She's a
good.
prime example of
send
all
her this.
this.
Yeah.
I'll send her this clip.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Come on,
Tulsi.
we love to have her come on Moms on a Mission too.
Yeah, Tulsi and Tulsa.
Yeah.
But we agree on God, we agree on country, and we agree on family. And just focus on those. We
Yes.
all unite. And if we can just focus on the 80% we agree on
That's right.
and let the 20% go, we're all going to unite. And that the unification is what needs to happen. And I feel like moms are really good at that.
We are good at
Yes.
that. I think
We
so.
unify our kids when they're fighting.
That's
We
right.
unify our husband.
No, it's
right?
true.
It's
And
okay.
you know, one of the things that Laura Logan said on our show a few weeks ago that hit me, she was saying, we really all are more like-minded. And we've talked about that at Women for Tulsa over and over. We really are. We're hearing from social media, the media outlets that are they're picking what they want you to hear. But if you could really get out in the community, which we're trying to do, we really agree on more than you think, at least 80% of the things.
And honestly, that's part of the agenda is to divide. And that's why the saying is divide and conquer, right? So if they can highlight and elevate and create some noise around the 20%, then it feels like it's the 80, right? But like, if you really look at the truth, it is 80-20, and we should focus on the 80.
Yeah. And so, you know, I always like to tell our audience something. I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you're getting your news and information outside of mainstream media, but maybe you have a friend who's not doing that yet. Please share this show with them or other podcasts. Get your information, join groups like Women for Tulsa, get your information outside of the mainstream media, because you're not getting the truth. Or a truth, the truth. You're not getting it.
And that's what I want to say about Women for Tulsa too, which is so neat, is you can be as involved as you want or uninvolved as you want. And you're welcomed and not judged either way. I mean, you might be in a busy season and you can still come to the monthly meetings.
Get the information.
They are 1 hour on the dot. Like Christy is on it. Like she's not going to waste your time because, you know, you might be working and literally have a 1 hour, you know, time for lunch or what have you. But I mean, just the wealth of information that you obtain by just being there and listening. And then you can take that information and go back to your, you know, your circle of influence. And you can think, oh, I don't have any counting skills. I don't have these other skills. But what we all do have as a skill set is we have an immediate circle and we can share factual data and truths in our immediate circle.
Well, just getting that feeling when you listen to a candidate talk to you, you can get a gut feeling. You can kind of tell, are they shooting me straight? Are they blowing smoke? What's going on here? And I mean, you're hearing it firsthand.
Yes. So, I mean, if that's all you can do is come to some of the meetings where the candidates come, because it also puts their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not used to this. They go to a few meetings, but to have women who ask really hard questions. And I also think moms kind of sell themselves short sometimes. You know, the ones that are busy, if you come and you ask the questions, they know that you're going to be holding them to that. When they make a statement. So if women in other parts of the country, we know our podcast hopefully goes out. We want it to go far and wide.
It's going to go viral.
Right. This is the one. This episode. This is it. I'm counting on it. But if you were going to talk to someone about, you know, starting another chapter of Women for Tulsa, or let's say Women for Chicago or Women for New York City, something like that, how would you describe that process and how would you encourage them to do that?
So I talked about duplicatable systems.
Yes.
So ours is duplicatable, and I will reach out. I will help anyone, anywhere to get to help them start their own program. We had a learning curve. We formed a PAC, and that wasn't the right venture. And then we formed a 501c4, and then we formed an affiliated PAC. So we've kind of gone the full route.
Mm-hmm.
Every state has different laws, so you have to really make sure that you understand that. We have an amazing attorney on hand that is really great with us. Jeff Long, give him a plug. And he really does handhold us and walk us there to make sure that we're in complete compliance. But it's a duplicatable system. And so if anyone wants to start something like this, I'd love to mentor them and help them, you know, go forward with it.
Maybe you could write a book.
Yeah.
You should.
In your free time.
Yeah.
Still for that. It's a real big problem. For me.
You could, dictate it.
I know I need to dictate it while I'm walking.
Well, I didn't even mention that she's also a really great athlete, and she does some really hard workouts. I can be attest to that. So can people reach out to you? What would be the best way to reach out to you? Through a social media or?
Yeah. So I'm on social media, Instagram, Christy Rawlings.
Okay.
But you can also go to the website and fill out information, contact us, and that comes straight to me.
Oh,
so it comes to our executive group. But yeah, I'll get it. I don't have a problem talking to anyone. So, and I'm on Facebook as well, but
yeah. And the email, I mean, I'm sorry, the website is it womenfortulsa.org or
.org.
Okay. And we'll have that in our notes.
Yeah. womenfortulsa.org. And
Okay. Seriously, you should think about even like a little booklet. I mean, I don't know why. I guess because Julie and I are learning how to edit our shows and we have a little checklist and it's really helpful. And I think that might be nice. I mean, of course, I think it'd be awesome that they contact you, but I think that would be something neat. Even if it were digital that they could pass along. I mean,
well, God did deliver an amazing lady who is a great writer and she did bylaw work and she just came
to do that.
Well, I don't know how I can help you. And this is the other thing. This is Women for Tulsa. I mean, we have our oldest member is 82. I know. Our youngest is, I think we've got a 24-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, women are women.
That's
and she's an amazing editor and writer. And so there you go.
We've got a job for her. You just dictate. You can be on your treadmill talking to her. I work. You'll still be moving.
Okay, record.
You go.
Yeah. Which means she's a really good athlete if she can talk. Julie and I have kind of a joke because we were running together for one time and she was just wanting to talk for like 45 minutes for half the run. I was like, yeah, no, I don't do this. Like,
I'm breathing.
Yeah, I'm surviving, keeping up at your pace and talking to you is a miracle. So
nice.
All good.
Well, thank you, Christy, so much for joining us today. We have loved having you here and just love talking about your organization, Women for Tulsa. And we would love to hear from you all too, our audience. Let's get connected. Just go to our website at momsonamission.net, fill out your information, and we can get in touch with you and stay connected. That's momsonamission.net. And please email us if you have any questions or comments, or you want to give us raving reviews of Christy at momsonamission.net. And please, please, please follow us on your favorite platform. We don't really talk about that very much, but it's so awesome because you will just get in your email, or if it's your Apple, you'll get a notification saying that we have a new episode up. So it just makes it so easy. It's just kind of served to you very easily. All you have to do is make one click on either end, and you can find our episodes as soon as they're uploaded. So please, please, please follow us on your favorite platform.
Moms on a Mission is excited to partner with our friends at MyPillow. According to sleep experts and sleephealth.org, over 50 million Americans struggle to get a good night's rest. That's where MyPillow comes in. They make the best pillows, sheets, mattresses, and mattress toppers. Several years ago, I was having trouble falling and staying asleep due to neck and shoulder pain. Luckily, I heard an ad about MyPillow and decided to give it a try. After 3 or 4 days, I really began to feel the difference. I was sleeping better and my neck and shoulders felt so much better. MyPillow really does help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Moms on a Mission wants you to get a great night's rest too. Go to mypillow.com right now and use the promo code MISSION for up to 66% off your purchase. MyPillow products are made in America and have a 60-day money-back guarantee and lifetime warranty. Remember, go to mypillow.com, put in the special code MISSION for your special Moms on a Mission discount. Thank you and God bless.
Hey guys, it's Moms on a Mission here. Are you worried about your financial stability and protecting the money for which you work so hard? The problem is stock market volatility and inflation. You may be wondering what you can do to preserve your family's wealth. We at Moms on a Mission encourage you to reach out to our friend Andrew Sorcini with Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Andrew is the expert in educating you to help you find the right balance of gold and silver for your family portfolio. He made it so easy for me to add precious metals to my financial investments. I simply mailed a check to Beverly Hills Precious Metals and my silver showed up on my doorstep a few days later. It was so easy. Go to bh-pm.com to save a little money and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. That's bh-pm.com. Don't wait. Protect your wealth today by going to bh-pm.com and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. Hi, everybody. It's Moms on a Mission here. Recent research from the CDC says that millions of Americans develop parasitic infections and symptoms often go unnoticed or are misdiagnosed. Parasites are the cause of many health problems, such as anxiety, depression, chronic pain, fatigue, and unexplained digestive issues. We all need a common sense strategy to improve our health. We at Moms on a Mission encourage you to reach out to our good friend, Dr. Jason Dean. Dr. Dean's Full Moon Protocol provides all natural detoxification and fights inflammation. These supplements are made with 100% organic ingredients and are proven to kill parasites safely and effectively.
To order your full moon protocol, go to bravetv.store/mission to save $20 off your first order. That's bravetv.store/mission. Order full moon protocol and start killing those foreign invaders that have been keeping you sick. That's bravetv.store/mission to receive $20 off your first order.